Here's a little project I bought yesterday. It's a little forging hammer. Not very heavy, no maker's name. It's very sad and rusty. And someone's basically put a wooden edge in here and what looks like a fencing staple. And I paid 50p for it. The handle's knackered, you might be able to use that for a while, but you can see it's split. It's very, very crusty dry. So what I shall do is replace it with a handle I made earlier. If I reach down and pick it up, so you can see it there. Not quite completely straight, but it actually feels nice in the hand, and that shouldn't make any difference at all when you're using it. And it should basically tell your hand which way around the head is. And we'll basically take you through this restoration. And then I'll use the draw knife and the shaving horse to do the fitting of the head onto the handle. And it should be quite easy to take this head off because you can see it's wibbly wobbly. Right, we've started to clean it up. Let's look at it critically. I've left the handle on it because it gets pretty warm. You can see the extent of the pitting as it was, and now it's started to clean up. You can see that the pitting's fairly deep. No sign of a maker's name. Damage here. Be used to hit on the flank, and no sign of a maker's name anywhere, which is a bit of a shame. I always like a maker's name, gives us a bit of history. But anyway, we'll keep bashing away at it, and this is the tool I'm using. It's a crazy flap disc. To really rake stuff off, you could use a solid grinding disc, but that leaves a lot of scratches. And there's various different grits you can get. And this is a fairly fine one. This is a 60. Bigger the number, the smaller the grit. And this one's fairly worn. So keep going off camera and then come back to you. Here's a grinding disc, and I've ground this side, and you can possibly see it's left quite coarse marks on there, so I'm going to attack it with that and grind those out. Right, that's about 15 minutes work, and you can see most of the rust is gone. That's the flat Pein. A bit more rust there, needs a bit more of an attack. And there's a lot of rust here. I've left the handle on because, yep, that's still too warm to pick up and hold. Obviously you don't want to get it very, very hot, but you can see how much the vibration has changed the set of the head. It's just worked really, really loose. So the next bit would be to remove those wedges and take the head off. Handle, I'm afraid, is past it. It's brittle, it's cracked, and it's dry. You could reset it. It's a nice handle, nice sort of size, and it's possibly the original one for the hammer, but it just wouldn't be safe. And this isn't a restoration to hang on the wall or anything, this is a restoration to use. So accordingly, I shan't take all the witnesses of rust out. This is not to make it really, really shiny. This is to assess the condition of the hammer. Right, so next stage is take the head off, and I'll let it cool first, and then attack it again with that 60 grit wheel and take all these abrasions out. See how loose the wedges. Let's take that out of there. See the wedges move. You can almost pull it out with your fingernail. Which of course tells you that the head is not going to last on there very long at all. There we go, one wedge. Screwdriver torture, and that wasn't a wedge at all, it's a washer. Yay! Excellent. Another wedge. That should come out of there without much issue. There we are. This bit here looks like it wasn't really a wedge at all. Someone's drilled that with a drill and put a bit of parallel stuff in there. Anyway, let's have a look at this thing. See what we got. Oh, it's a bit warm. Get rid of him. Oh, look. Someone's drilled all the way through and put a lump of steel through. That's definitely cheating. We'll see if we can get that out. If not, we'll just chop it off and then we'll take this out with a burr, get rid of all the rust. So, one thing you need to do when fitting your haft is to remember which way the head goes up. It doesn't really matter when it's like this. But what I've done is I've not taken all the rust off this face. I will take all the rust off there, and that will go down. This bit here, you might be able to see that there are burrs on the edge here. You're going to need to get rid of those. And again, need to make the tunnel so that the outlet of the tunnel is that shape. Centre is that shape, and the bottom is also that shape. That shape, get what I mean? So it's like U-shaped. At the moment, this is slightly wider than that is. The rust taken off, we pull his head off, and it's just possible that this handle has been fitted around this. And it's just possible that that's an original feature, although it's not nothing I've ever seen before on a handle that's straight out the factory. or a hammer that's straight out of the factory. This handle's got traces, the barest traces of varnish still on it, and it's a nice size for that head. It's a nice size for my hand. So anyway, that's what we've got. What I'm going to do now is get my nice new tungsten carbide burr, which is this thing, in my drill, set to low speed. You'll have to forgive all the mess in here. I've got several projects on the go at once, all the time. So it spins the correct way, and off we go. Keep it moving. And little by little, we end up taking our tunnel out. Can you see that? Right, move over to the side. Did you get the idea? Right, we'll keep whizzing away at this, trying to keep it symmetrical, working little by little, and we'll chop away at that, and off camera we'll knock that out. Might be possible to punch it through, or the other thing to do is cut it and then leave these pieces in situ rather than say welded up, or just leave a hole. Anyway, let's keep going. Hey, presto, you can just see the witness. The fixing bar, we'll call it that, is gone. Ground it out with the burr off camera. And there's a little work needed to the tunnel, but you can see with the eye of faith, this is wider now in the centre of the tunnel. This one here is a slightly funny shape down this end, and it's slightly wider but narrower here, so a little bit more work with the burr, and then we'll be ready to fit it to the handle. I'm going to leave these bits of corrosion in. Those I can take out when the head's on the handle. And first we check our wedges. That's the bottom, remember, marries up with this mark here. New wedge, which is another part of that same wedge as I used on the other forging hammer, fits in the tunnel. See the profile on it? It's got to go all the way from front to back. Now this is a number 2, and this eye, surprisingly, because it's a smaller, less weighty hammer, see it? It drops all the way through. So that'll do for this head. Just as well as I've got no more number 1s. Pop it in there. Start it off. Remember our forging hammer we've just hafted. That's all the way through. But what we've forgot to do, but I've got to take this off, and you've seen me do that before. No, we'll do it again now. We need to make sure that our saw cut, which is closed right up, goes to the correct depth. Otherwise your wedge will never fit in. Then your head will come off. Yep, that looks good. So saw cut runs only to here. So we need to go and open that up with the hacksaw and take it down to about halfway through, so it needs to come down to there. I'll go and do that now and then come back to you. Right, saw cut reinstated. See, it's not quite straight, depth is about right, but that shouldn't matter. So right, line up our little mark with our rusty bit. Right, let's find a bigger hammer. Use this one. Right, good fit all the way round. What we need to do now is to chop that off, which I'll do off camera, because there'll be a lot of jerking about because I've got the camera attached to my head, and then come back to you. Right, done my saw cut. And spread the gorilla. Let's get him started. Make sure he's in the middle. Fully bottomed. Clean the goop off. That's good. Number 2 wedge. Make sure he's right in the middle. There we are. I'll go and whiz that off and then come back and show you. TP found. Is a witness of its past life. This particular one was probably a cheap hammer when it was bought new. No maker's name that we were able to find. And it's got that lump of metal through the actual hammer itself. Whether someone actually fitted the handle around that cross piece, or it would have been bored in and then broken out, I don't know. The metal seems to be softer than this hammer here. Of course, people will tell you never to knock two hammer heads together, but let's just do a little quick test. Corner of that, corner of that, and look, it's put a gall in there. Those two are already there. So this hammer is probably going to turn out to be too soft to be a forging hammer. So it might have to have its handle removed and then some heat treatment done on it somewhere down the line. But for the moment, that'll do to find out whether it's a nicely balanced hammer. But this one, I've every confidence, will end up being a nice hammer. Right, it'll smooth down with our wet and dry, and a bit of Tesco's finest sunflower oil, and that'll be done. Thank you very much for watching.